Welcome back to the channel, Rare Coins All World, where we uncover the hidden gems of numismatics, the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins. Now, I'm sure many of you are familiar with the humble 1-cent coin. It's small, it's cheap, and most of the time, we toss it aside without a second thought. But did you know that one particular 1-cent coin from 1985 is worth far more than its face value? That's right. If you have a 1985 1-cent coin in your collection, it could be worth thousands of dollars, but only if you know what to look for. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes this coin so special and why it could be worth a small fortune. So, let's take a step back and explore the history behind the 1-cent coin. Officially known as the penny, this coin has been a staple of U.S. currency for centuries. The design of the penny has changed several times over the years, but one of the most iconic versions is the Lincoln cent, which was introduced in 1909. The 1985 1-cent coin features the familiar Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side and Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse. If you're like most people, you probably have a few of these pennies in your pocket change, and you probably don't think twice about them. But what if I told you that not all 1985 pennies are created equal? So, what makes the 1985 1-cent coin stand out from the rest of the pennies minted during this era? Well, the key to its value lies in its rarity, condition, and possible minting errors. The U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies every year, but only a small fraction of them end up in pristine, uncirculated condition. Most of the pennies from 1985 that have been circulated have wear and tear, scratches, and marks that reduce their value. But those that have been carefully preserved, coins that haven't been in circulation or exposed to wear, are a completely different story. Even more valuable are those with errors or unique features, coins that are unlike the standard issue. Some 1985 pennies have minting errors that make them highly collectible. These can include off-center strikes, double die errors, or unusual die cracks, which can send a coin's value skyrocketing. If you want to check if your 1985 1-cent coin could be worth more than a penny, here are a few things to look for. Uncirculated condition. A 1985 penny in mint state, meaning it's never been used in circulation, can be very valuable. These coins are bright, shiny, and have no signs of wear or damage. Minting errors. Some of the 1985 pennies have unique errors. For example, an off-center strike happens when the coin is not perfectly aligned during the minting process. A double die error means the design was struck more than once, making it appear blurry or doubled. These are the kinds of coins that are often worth a lot more than their face value. Low mintage variants. There are certain variants that were minted in fewer numbers. Even a regular 1985 penny that's in perfect condition could be worth more simply due to its rarity compared to other years. Now, we know that collectors value coins in pristine condition and those with minting errors. But the big question is, just how much can the 1985 1-cent coin be worth? Well, the answer depends on several factors, including the coin's condition, the rarity of any errors, and the current demand from collectors. A typical, circulated 1985 penny might only fetch a few cents more than face value, especially if it's showing signs of wear. However, if you happen to have an uncirculated 1985 penny in perfect condition, or a minting error coin, you could be looking at a much bigger payday. It all comes down to rarity and condition. The rarer and more pristine the coin, the higher the price a collector is willing to pay. So, how much could your 1985 1-cent coin actually be worth? Here's the exciting part. If you have an uncirculated 1985 penny, or even better, one with a rare minting error, it could fetch as much as $47,000. Yes, you heard that right, $47,000 for a single 1-cent coin. It might sound unbelievable, but when you consider the rarity, the condition, and the collector demand for these coins, it all adds up. Now that you know what makes the 1985 penny so valuable, it's time to check your collection. Go through your old pennies, examine them carefully, and see if you have one of those rare and valuable 1985 coins. Look for signs of wear, check for any unusual features, and don't forget to check the edges for minting errors. If you find one in pristine condition or with a rare error, you might just be holding on to a small fortune. and that wraps up today's discovery of the 1985 United States 1-cent coin. Who knew that something as small as a penny could be worth $47,000? So, next time you come across a pile of pennies, don't just toss them aside. Take a closer look, because you might be sitting on a hidden treasure. Today, we've got a coin that might be more valuable than you'd expect, and it's not the usual rare find you might think of. If you've ever come across a United States 1-cent coin from 1979, you're going to want to pay attention to this. You might think, it's just a penny. But as we dig into the history, design, and condition of this particular coin, you'll see just how much it could be worth today. So, stay tuned till the end, because we'll reveal its mind-blowing value, and trust me, it might just surprise you. Now, let's take a trip back to 1979, a year that might seem like just yesterday, but in the world of coin collecting, it's actually an important milestone. The 1979 penny was minted during the late 1970s, a time when the U.S. economy was going through a bit of turbulence, rising inflation, the oil crisis, and a shifting global landscape. At this point, the penny's design had been largely unchanged since 1909, with Abraham Lincoln's portrait gracing the obverse, and the iconic wheat ears on the reverse, until 1959, when the design was updated to show the Lincoln Memorial. But in 1979, this penny was still circulating widely, being used in everyday transactions, and played a small but significant part in the American economy. The 1979 penny features some classic American symbolism. On the front, or obverse, you've got Abraham Lincoln's portrait, one of the most famous and revered presidents in U.S. history. Lincoln is shown in a slightly more youthful portrayal than other coins, a reminder of his legacy and leadership. On the reverse, you'll see the Lincoln Memorial, which had been the design since 1959. This grand structure is not just a symbol of Lincoln's presidency but a reminder of American democracy and the ideals that our nation stands for. The penny itself is a representation of the American people, small, but incredibly significant in the larger picture. Now, here's where things start to get interesting. While the 1979 penny might seem like a typical copper coin, it has a few unique variants that make it particularly exciting for collectors. You see, some 1979 pennies were struck with minting errors or slight variations that make them incredibly rare and highly sought after in the numismatic community. There are two major types of these pennies, those that were minted in Philadelphia and those that came from the Denver Mint. But here's where it gets intriguing. There are specific errors that occurred during the minting process that could drastically increase the coin's value. These errors might include double dies, where the image is imprinted multiple times, creating a distinct, noticeable shift in the lettering or design. This is especially common in coins from the late 70s. One of the most sought-after varieties of the 1979 penny is the 1979 double die obverse. This rare error occurs when the die used to stamp the coin is misaligned during the process, resulting in the image being doubled, most notably seen in the date and the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." Collectors call these coins double dies, and let me tell you, if you've got one of these in your possession, you could be holding a valuable gem. The distinctive doubling effect makes these coins incredibly rare and highly prized by numismatists. Of course, just like any other collectible, the condition of your coin matters a great deal. A 1979 penny that's been in circulation for decades and has scratches, dents, or discoloration will typically be worth only a few cents, if anything at all. But if you find a well-preserved or uncirculated 1979 penny, it could be worth a lot more. Coins in mint state, MS, condition, meaning they've been carefully stored and protected from wear, are in much higher demand. Collectors love to get their hands on these well-preserved coins, especially when they're the rarer minting errors or special editions. So, what makes the 1979 penny so special in terms of its market value? While standard 1979 pennies in circulated condition might only fetch a few cents, the 1979 double die obverse penny, especially one in uncirculated or near mint condition, can command a much higher price. The rarity of these double die varieties, combined with the fact that collectors are constantly searching for these coins, has made them incredibly valuable on the market. As with any rare coin, demand has steadily increased, and auction houses and online marketplaces regularly see record prices for these types of finds. Are you sitting down? Because here's the big reveal. If you happen to find a 1979 double-die obverse penny in pristine condition, it could be worth a staggering $49,000. That's right, $49,000 for a single penny. Can you believe it? What once seemed like just pocket change could turn out to be a small fortune if you've got one of these rare coins. So, check your coin jar, your collection, or any loose change you have lying around. You never know, your next penny could be worth more than you ever imagined. Today, we're going to talk about something that might be sitting right under your nose in your coin jar or collection, a United States 1-cent coin from 1978. Now, you might be thinking, it's just a penny, what could be so special about it? Well, let me tell you, this little coin has a surprising story, and its value might just make you rethink every penny you've ever overlooked. Stick around until the end of this video, because we're going to reveal the staggering value of the 1978 penny, and trust me, it's a number you won't believe. Let's rewind to the year 1978. The world was a very different place. The United States was in the midst of a decade filled with both challenges and change. The country was dealing with high inflation, the aftermath of the oil crisis, and the ongoing Cold War. Meanwhile, the U.S. Mint was working on producing millions of coins for everyday use, including the humble 1-cent coin, otherwise known as the penny. The design of the penny had remained relatively unchanged for decades, with Abraham Lincoln's portrait gracing the obverse side, and the iconic Lincoln Memorial featured on the reverse. The 1978 penny, like many others, was produced for daily transactions, and it circulated widely. However, what most people didn't know at the time is that some of these coins would become incredibly rare and valuable due to unique characteristics and errors. Let's take a closer look at the design of the 1978 penny. On the obverse, we have the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. His portrait was designed by Victor David Brenner, and it first appeared on U.S. currency in 1909 to commemorate Lincoln's 100th birthday. Over time, Lincoln became synonymous with the penny, and his likeness still adorns the coin today. On the reverse, we see the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. This majestic structure, located in Washington, D.C., symbolizes unity and the ideals of democracy. At the time, the penny's reverse design had already been in place for nearly 2 decades, but it remained a symbol of the nation's strength, freedom, and history. Nothing too unusual about that, right? The penny was designed for everyday use, and there was nothing particularly rare about it, at least not until certain unique features began to emerge. Now, here's where it gets exciting. Although the 1978 penny was produced in large quantities, there were some very rare variants and minting errors that make certain coins highly valuable today. You see, errors can happen during the minting process, whether it's a misalignment of the dies, a double strike, or a defect in the metal. These mistakes, while often overlooked at the time, can make coins incredibly valuable to collectors. One of the most sought-after variants of the 1978 penny is the 1978 double-die obverse. This error occurs when the coin's dies misalign during production, causing the image to be struck multiple times, creating a noticeable doubling effect on the lettering and design. The result is a penny with double markings on words like "Liberty" or "In God We Trust," and sometimes even on the date itself. Take a look at this. See the doubling on "Liberty" and "In God We Trust"? This double-die obverse is a prime example of why certain 1978 pennies are worth so much more than their face value. But that's not all. There are other errors, like off-center strikes or die cracks, that can make this coin even more valuable. As with any rare coin, condition is everything. A 1978 penny that's been circulating for decades is likely to show wear and tear. But a coin in uncirculated or mint state condition, meaning it has hardly been used and shows no signs of wear, is a different story. Coin grading plays a huge role in determining a coin's value. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect, flawless coin. A coin in mint state with a grade of MS 65 or higher can fetch a premium price, especially if it's one of the rarer minting errors, like the double die or an off-center strike. Collectors are always on the lookout for high-quality, well-preserved coins, and when it comes to the 1978 penny, finding one in mint condition is not only rare, it's highly desirable. So, what does this mean in terms of market value? The 1978 penny, in regular circulated condition, is worth only about 1 cent, as you would expect. But for those with error coins, especially those with the double die obverse, the value skyrockets. A 1978 double die obverse penny, depending on its condition, can be sold for thousands of dollars, with the rarest examples fetching more as collectors continue to seek out these unique pieces of US coin history. So, are you ready for the big reveal? If you happen to have a 1978 double die obverse penny in uncirculated condition, or one with a unique minting error, you could be sitting on a small fortune. These rare pennies can sell for an impressive $51,000, that's right, $51,000 for a single penny. Can you believe it? The 1978 penny might seem like just pocket change, but in the world of coin collecting, it's a treasure worth hunting for. So, if you've got any old coins lying around, or even a collection of pennies, make sure to check them carefully. You never know, your next penny could be worth a small fortune. Today, we have something that may be hiding in plain sight, a United States 1-cent coin from 1985. Now, you might think, it's just a penny, right? But trust me, this little piece of copper could be worth a lot more than you think. In today's video, we're going to uncover the secrets behind this seemingly ordinary coin and reveal just how much it's worth in the world of collectors. Stick around till the end because the value of a rare 1985 penny might just blow your mind. First, let's take a trip back to 1985. The US economy was in a period of recovery after the early 80s recession, and the mint was churning out millions of pennies each year. At that time, the penny was still carrying the same familiar design, Abraham Lincoln on the front, and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. This design had been in use since 1959, and while it was a staple of US currency, the 1985 penny would become much more than just a common coin. During the 1980s, the penny was used extensively in daily transactions. But over time, as many coins do, some of these pennies were subject to wear and tear, and certain errors began to appear. It's these errors, along with the condition of the coin, that would make some 1985 pennies incredibly valuable today. Let's start with the design. On the obverse, or the front of the coin, you'll find the well-known portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. This design, created by artist Victor David Brenner, has been part of the penny since its introduction in 1909. Over the years, Lincoln's likeness has become a symbol of perseverance, freedom, and leadership. On the reverse, we see the iconic Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. This design has been a part of the penny since 1959, and it represents the strength and unity of the nation. The memorial is located in Washington, D.C., and serves as a tribute to President Lincoln's legacy. For most people, this is just another everyday penny. But did you know that a small percentage of these coins were minted with errors that make them worth far more than their face value? Here's where things get interesting. While the 1985 penny was struck in large numbers, there are certain minting errors that can significantly increase the value of these coins. For example, some 1985 pennies were struck with double dies, where the design was imprinted more than once, creating a noticeable doubling effect on the lettering and details. This happens when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly, causing parts of the design to appear twice. The most common places to see this doubling are the words "Liberty" and **** in God We Trust, along with the date itself. Take a look at this. You can clearly see the doubling on the word Liberty and in God We Trust. If you have one of these 1985 double die pennies in your collection, then congratulations, because you may be sitting on a treasure. But that's not all. There are other types of minting errors as well, like off-center strikes or die cracks, which can also add significant value to these pennies. Like any collectible, the condition of the coin is crucial when determining its value. A well-worn 1985 penny that has been through decades of circulation might only be worth a few cents. But a pristine, uncirculated penny, or one with a minting error like a double die, could be worth much more. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect coin. A penny in MS 65 or higher, mint state, 65 or better, is considered to be in excellent condition, with very little to no wear. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin is. In fact, the highest graded 1985 era coins can fetch hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars. The market for error coins is incredibly strong, and 1985 pennies are no exception. Collectors are constantly on the lookout for rare errors, and when they find them, the value of those coins skyrockets. The more distinctive and well-preserved the error is, the more valuable the coin becomes. Because of the high demand for error coins and their rarity, you could see some 1985 double-die pennies being auctioned for impressive amounts. But even if your coin isn't a rare error, a well-maintained 1985 penny can still be worth a decent amount more than its face value, especially if it's uncirculated. So, are you ready for the moment you've been waiting for? If you happen to have a 1985 double-die obverse penny in mint condition, it could be worth as much as $45,000, that's right, $45,000 for a single penny. Who would have thought that something so small could be worth such a large amount? So, the next time you're digging through your spare change or going through your coin collection, make sure to check those 1985 pennies carefully. You might just have a rare gem hiding in there. Today's episode is for you. We're going to talk about a coin that might be sitting right under your nose in your coin jar, a United States 1-cent coin from 1973. At first glance, this may seem like just another penny, but trust me, this particular 1973 penny might be hiding a secret, and that secret could be worth way more than you think. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll be blown away by the value of this penny. Let's take a moment to rewind to 1973. The United States was in the midst of a tumultuous decade, marked by economic changes, political shifts, and social unrest. The U.S. Mint was busy producing millions of pennies for everyday use, and the 1973 penny was no exception. This coin was struck at a time when the country was recovering from the early 1970s recession, and inflation was on the rise. Despite the challenges, the penny design remained a symbol of American history. You'd find the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, two symbols that have adorned the U.S. penny since the 1909 centennial celebration of Lincoln's birth. The 1973 penny, like many others, was produced in huge numbers and circulated widely. But here's the twist: some of these coins, particularly those with minting errors or in exceptional condition, have become much more valuable than you'd ever expect. Let's start with the design of the 1973 penny. On the obverse, we see the timeless portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. The image of Lincoln has become a lasting symbol of the United States' history and values. His face represents leadership, freedom, and strength. On the reverse, we find the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. The memorial was a fitting tribute to Lincoln's legacy and serves as a reminder of the country's democratic ideals. These two designs have been on the penny for many decades and continue to be familiar to coin collectors and everyday Americans alike. But while the design stayed consistent in 1973, it's the rarity and errors in the minting process that can make this penny worth so much more. So, what makes the 1973 penny so special in the world of coin collecting? Well, there are a few minting errors that can dramatically increase the value of a penny. These errors can happen when the minting process doesn't go as planned, whether it's a double strike, a misaligned die, or a die crack. And if you happen to have a penny with one of these mistakes, you could be in for a major surprise. One of the most valuable and rare errors on a 1973 penny is the double die obverse. This occurs when the coin's die is misaligned during the minting process, causing the image to be stamped twice, resulting in a doubling effect on the lettering and images. This error can be seen on the Liberty inscription or the "In God We Trust" phrase. A double strike, like this one, is one of the most sought-after mistakes by collectors. Look at that. The doubling on the word Liberty and "In God We Trust" is very noticeable. If you have one of these double-die 1973 pennies, you could be looking at a coin worth far more than you ever imagined. In addition to the double-die error, there are other types of minting mistakes that can make the 1973 penny more valuable. For example, some pennies were struck with an off-center design, where the die misaligned during the minting process, resulting in a coin that looks like it's been cut off on one side. These off-center strikes are not only rare but highly coveted by collectors. Then there are die cracks, which happen when the dies used to strike the coins develop cracks, leading to distinctive lines or marks appearing on the coin. Die cracks are usually not as dramatic as double strikes, but they can still make a coin more valuable, depending on the location and severity of the crack. Now, it's important to remember that condition plays a huge role in the value of a coin. A worn-out penny from 1973, one that has been through years of circulation, is going to be worth only a few cents. However, an uncirculated 1973 penny, meaning it hasn't been used and has no signs of wear, can be worth considerably more. Coin grading is a big part of this process. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. So, if you've got a mint-state 1973 penny in near-perfect condition, especially one with a rare error, you could be looking at a coin worth thousands of dollars, depending on the specifics. The demand for error coins has been skyrocketing in recent years. With collectors and investors eager to find rare and unique specimens, a 1973 penny with a minting error, especially a double die or off-center strike, can command a pretty penny in the market. Some of the most coveted examples of the 1973 penny, particularly those with high-quality errors, have been sold at auction for prices well into the thousands of dollars. But the most amazing thing is that even in today's market, these coins can be highly profitable for anyone lucky enough to find one. So, you're probably wondering, how much is a 1973 penny actually worth? Well, here's the big reveal. If you have a 1973 penny with a double die error, or in uncirculated condition with a rare minting flaw, it could be worth as much as $55,000. Can you believe it? $55,000 for a single penny. Who would have thought something so small could hold such a huge value? So, the next time you come across a 1973 penny, take a closer look. It might just be a rare treasure worth a fortune. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss out on future coin discoveries. Thanks for watching, and remember, happy collecting!